What's up, guys? It's your bro, Rich here. Um, today in this video, I'll be doing something a little bit different. Cause tonight in this video, I've got a very special video for you all. As I mentioned before in the past videos, that I'll be doing something like this. I think I have. I'm not too sure. I've been preparing this for so long, and now the waiting is finally thinned out. It's finally over, and now it's officially the time to do it. So, tonight in this video, I'll be talking to you all about the different V8 engines. Specifically, starting off with the first one is the Ford Modular motor. So that includes both the V8 and apparently the V10. Now, I don't know about the Ford V10, but I know the V8 is pretty well for Fords, Mustangs, GT40s, all that kind of cool stuff. So, but the V10, I don't know. I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. So before I start, make sure you guys all like the video, like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you'll know when I make brand new uploads. Alright, so without any further ado, let's begin. So the Ford Modular motor. Here we go. By the way, I was gonna be doing this in college today, but I didn't have time, so I thought, why not do it at home? Alright, so let's do it. So the Ford Modular motor. So the Ford Modular engines, well, motor's a OHC, so overhead camshaft or overhead cam. Both V8 and V10, gasoline, so gas powered, small block motor, family introduced. So motor family introduced by FMC, Ford Motor Company, in 1990. In 1990, for the 1991 model year. The term modular modular applied to the setup of both tooling and casting stations in both the Windsor and Romeo engine manufacturing parts. Not the engine itself, though. This is something I would not normally do, but hey, thought I'd give it a try. Okay, so overviews next. So let's do this. So manufacturer is obviously by FMC, Ford Motor Company. I need to drink real quick. It's also called both the Ford Triton and Lincoln Intech. Apparently. So both Ford Triton and Lincoln Intech. Production was from 1990 and onwards, and also also my 1991 and onwards. For those of For those who are wondering what I just drank, you probably think it's a milk carton, but no, it's actually this rival, rival tears. Now that kind of sounds a little bit odd with when you add tears to a drink. When you add tears to a drink, it's basically rival tears natural spring water. So that's pretty cool. Nah, this cool just cracks me up. Sip the victory, taste the tears. Honestly, I had to get this and try this out, actually. It's pretty good. There's some info about this, actually. It says, tethered, I can't pronounce it really well, but it's spelled, or can't really say it really well. It's spelled T-E, so spelled T-E, so T-E-T-H-E-R-E-D, cap stays attached, not lost or littered. Uh, Cartons have a lower carbon footprint than both um, cans and bottles. What I just showed you was just a can of Monster Energy, zero sugar. Um, and paper-based carton and plant-based cap from Responsibility Managed Forests. A large spout and screw cap makes this carton easy to reuse, and it's also 100% recyclable, so pretty good. There's another quote I didn't see. Oh my god! So it says, "Enjoy the enjoy the hydrating taste of glory, and drink your rival's tears." And yeah, so sip the victory, taste the tears. It's kind of odd to call it like rival tears for a drink, but it tastes like normal water, which is pretty good. I don't know why I call it that. I don't know why they call it that, but I just had to pick this up, just try it out, and it's pretty good. It just tastes like normal water in general. It's odd though seeing it like this in a carton. It's not usually. It's usually mostly in like those clear plastic bottles, but nothing like this. I mean, for milk and like like milkshakes, yeah, but water, rarely, just barely. Pretty good. Doesn't taste like tears, thankfully. Anyways, I'm getting a bit carried away. Or is that? So yeah, the Ford modular motor is a overhead camshaft, so OHC, both V8 and wait, hold on. Oh, that's better. So overview on. So manufacturer was by FMC Ford Motor Company. It's also called both the Ford. It's also called both the Ford Triton, so Ford Triton, and Lincoln Intech. Production was from 1990 and production was from 1990 and onwards. And also by 1991 and onwards as well. Next part is layout. So the configuration is both a V8 and V10, both of them at an angle of 90 degrees. So both at a 90-degree angle. The displacement we got most of the V8s in one V10. So we're gonna do the V8s most of all first, important. So for the V8s we got a 4.6 liter 280, a 5 liter 302, well 4.9, but they just ran up to 5 liters. So 5 liter 302, 5 point, so 5 liter 302, 302, 5.2 liter 315, 5.3 liter 322, 5.4 liter 330, 5.4 liter 330, and a 5.8 and a 5.8 liter 354. As for the V10, there's only one option that they have only, which is a 6.8, which is a 6.8 liter, which is a 6.8, which is a 6.8 liter, which is a 6.8 liter, which is a 6.8 liter 412 V10 motor. Cylinder bore. There's like 4 different versions. It's around 90.2 millimeters, 3.552 inches, 92.2 inches, no, 90, so 90.2 millimeters, 3.552 inches, 92.2 inches, 3.629, 93.5 millimeters, 3.681 inches, and approximately dead on at 94 millimeters, 3.7 inches. So technically it's between 92, So between 90.2 to 94 millimeters. So it's 3.8 millimeters difference there to 3.552 to 3.7 inches. It's around 0.448 inches of difference there. Wait, hold on, I got that wrong. Wait. Wait. So 0.148 inches. Sorry, I got that bit wrong. It's just, I've never talked about inches before in the videos, but I thought, well, why not? Just gonna try. So there's a difference in those 0.148 inches there. Sorry. Damn. It gives me a bit of a headache. So that's the cylinder bore. Next is the piston stroke. So next is the piston stroke. So we got 90.2 millimeters, 3.552 inches, 92.2 millimeters, 3.629 inches, 93.5, so 92.2 millimeters. Wait. Take a deep breath and breathe out. There we go. Okay, so cylinder bore for the first one is 90.2 millimeters. Wait. Hold on. Let me just do the cylinder bore again. Hold on. And drinking a can of Monster Energy as well. Okay, so for the cylinder bore, we got 90. First one is 90.2 millimeters, 3.552 inches. 92.2 millimeters, 90.2 inches. 90.2 millimeters. There we go. There we go. 3.552 inches, 92.2 millimeters, 3.629 inches. So 92.2 millimeters, 3.629 inches, 93.5 millimeters, 3.681 inches. So 93.5 millimeters, 3.681 inches, and 94 millimeters, 3.7 inches. Now we got the piston stroke. So the first one is 90 millimeters dead on. So 90 millimeters dead on. 3.543 inches. So 90 millimeters, 3.543 inches. 92.7 millimeters. So 92.7 millimeters. 3.649 3.649 inches. 93 millimeters dead on. 3.661 inches. Then we got 95.3 millimeters. 3.75 inches. And we got the last one, which is 105.8 105.8 millimeters, 4.165 inches. Now the valve train we got both a single overhead camshaft, or SOHC, either 2 or 3 valves per cylinder, with VCT for some versions, which is variable cam timing. And we got another one with DOHC, so dual overhead camshaft. 4 valves per cylinder with VCT So variable cam timing and TI version of variable cam timing for some versions. The valve train the valve train drive system was chain. It's not usually belt, but it's like chain driven usually. For older like muscle cars, they would have like those big V8s. For old muscle cars, they have those big V8s that were chain driven, but the modern ones they were belt driven. So that's the valve train. So that's the valve train drive system, which is chain driven. For the combustion, for the supercharger, for the supercharger, it's got an E10 M112 roots type, so an E10 M112 or 112 roots type supercharger in both DOHC and 5.4 liter SOHC versions. Power output. So we got the output next. For the power, it's between 190 to 800 between 190 to 806 horsepower. And as for the torque, it's between 260 to around 260 to 680 pound feet, 353 353 to 900 353 to 900 so 353 to 921 newton meters of torque. Chronology is next. The predecessor was these two versions of the Ford V8s. Got a small block and a 385. So a small block and a 385, which is a 5.8 liter, presumably. No, it's a 6.3, 6.4 liter, something like that. Anyway, so moving on. So, where is this? So, the Ford modular motors and the overhead camshafts. And so the Ford modular motors and OHC overhead camshaft V8 and V10, V8 and V10, gasoline or gas powered, small block motor family introduced by FMC, Ford Motor Company in 1994 to 1991 model year. The term modular applied to the setup of both. The term modular applied to the setup of both tooling and casting stations. So the term modular applied to the setup of both tooling and casting stations in both the Windsor and the Romeo motor family. Not family, so in both the Windsor and Romeo motor or engine manufacturing plants. So not parts. I think I said parts for that one. My bad if I did. So engine manufacturing plants, not the engine itself. The modular motor family started with the first one, the 4.6 the 4.6 liter 280 back in 1990 for the 91 model year. The modular motors are used in various Ford Lincoln and Mercury. So Ford Lincoln and Mercury vehicles. Modular Ford Lincoln and Mercury vehicles. Modular motors used in Ford trucks were marketed under the Triton name. So Triton name from 1997 to 2010. So from that point in time, that was around for like at least 13 years. It's ended in 2010. While the Intech names used for a time at both Lincoln and Mercury. So Lincoln and Mercury for for cars equipped with DOHC versions of these motors. The motors were first produced at the FREP Ford Romeo engine plant, then additional capacities added at the Windsor engine plant, or WEP, in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. All right, next up we got is orange. Next up we got is origins. In the early 1980s, so in the early 80s, then FMC Ford Motor Company, uh, Ford Motor Company chief chief operating officer, Donald Peterson, born September 4th, 1926, passed away age. So he was born on September 4th. So his full name was Donald Eugene Peterson, born September 4th, 1926, at his hometown in his home city of Pipestone in Pipestone County, Minnesota. Passed away at age 97 on April 24th, 2024. So April 24th, 2024, last year, in the city of Bloomfield Hills in Oakland County, Michigan, roughly 20 miles northwest of downtown Detroit. For those who don't know who he is, so his full name was Donald Eugene Peterson. He was an American businessman who was employed by the FMC Ford Motor Company for 40 years. 40 years. So 4 decades, 40 years. Each decade is 10 years. So 40 years. Most notably as its chief executive officer from 1980, 1985. So from 1985 to 1990. Anyway, in the early 80s, Ford Motor Company, or FMC Chief Operating Officer Donald Peterson challenged Ford's Vice President of Design Jack Telnack, born in 1937. Full name not so sure. Either between age 87 and 88, who was a former global vice president, vice president of design of the FMC from 1980 to 1997. He's best known for his work with cars like the 1979 Gen 3 Mustang, the 83 Gen 9 Ford Thunderbird, and the 86 Ford Taurus, which was the Gen 1 version of the car. So, and the 86 Ford Taurus Gen 1. So back to origins. So in the early 80s, then FMC Chief Operating Officer Donald Peterson challenged Ford's vice president Ford's vice president of design Jack Telnack, and his staff to come up with new car designs to replace the boxy styling that had dominated Ford products for years. The results: the adoption of sleeker, more aero designs like that used for the highly successful Ford Taurus. In the second half of the 80s, Peterson, then chief executive officer, sought to update Ford's decades-old V8 architectures, challenging Jim Clark with an E at the end, who's a Ford senior engineer, to develop a new V8 that would surpass Ford's earlier V8s in every meaningful way, from both power and efficiency to both emissions performance emissions so from both power and efficiency to both from both power and efficiency to both emissions performance and smoothness of operation. Clark and his engineers studied Clark and his engineers studied Clark and his engineers studied motor designs for major Euro and Japanese automakers and sought to develop um, a technologically advanced, power dense, technologically advanced, power dense, dependable, low maintenance V8 with no major service required before 100,000. So with no major service required before 100,000 miles of use. The initial motor design would to implement a V angle of about 90 degrees. So implement a 90-degree V angle with both a bore and stroke of 3.55 2 to 3.53 so 3.552 to 3.543 inches, and that's 90.2 by 90, so 90.2 by 90 millimeters, resulting in a 4.6 liter display, resulting in a 4.6 liter 280 displacement, and creating a nearly 1-to-1 bore to stroke ratio. This square configuration is chosen primarily for its positive nose, vibration, and harshness characteristics. The motor would utilize features such as a chain-driven SOHC valve train with roller finger followers, deep skirt cast iron block construction, and cross bolted main bearings, all benefiting long-term durability. In the interest of reducing overall engine weight, aluminum aluminum cylinder heads made with pure aluminum alloy. Aluminum cylinder heads would be standard, and all major accessories would be mounted directly to the block, resulting in a more complex motor block casting but eliminating the need for heavy mounting brackets. All engines in the family shared a common bore spacing of 3.937 inches, 100 millimeters. Tight construction tolerances were used in shaping cylinder bores to accommodate narrow piston rings. This improved motor efficiency through both reduced friction and oil both reduced friction and oil consumption, while also prompting much cleaner emissions, so making it cleaner, and much smaller emissions to reduce the amount of CO2 that's produced in motors like these. Because big V8s like these produce a ton of emissions unless you do some proper maintenance to it. Then at some point you have to try to change that as much as you can to both reduce friction and oil consumption while also promoting cleaner emissions. Various SOHC or DOHC V8 and V10s could be produced. Six-cylinder derivatives were also explored, though they were never really built. In order to accommodate the wide array of motor configurations possible within this architecture, Ford developed a new modular tooling system for producing different motors fast and efficiently in the same factory. So both fast and efficiently in the same factory. Such an approach allowed for significantly faster changeovers when switching from one motor platform to another among the modular when switching from one motor platform to another among the motor so while switching from one motor platform to another so while switching from one motor platform to another among the modular motor family. This also allowed for the existing engine plants and their supporting offsite products and their supporting offsite production facilities to handle shorter production runs. By 1987, Ford was fully committed to produce the new modular V8 motor, having invested $4 billion in 2023. That's equivalent to $9.21 billion, which is $9,210 million back in 2023, 2 years ago. In the motor's design, in addition to retooling the company's Romeo Michigan tractor, the company's tractor platform in Romeo, Michigan, to build the motors. 3 years later, in the third quarter, 3 years later, in the third quarter of 19, 3 years later, in the third quarter, so in 75% of 1990, so around let's say 19 oh god, I think it was 1999, I'm not too sure, or 1996, 1997, or even 1988, I'm not too sure. I don't know, something like that, probably. I believe it was 1987, mid 97. I can't really, I don't really know. Anyways, 3 years later, in the third quarter of 1990, the first in the third quarter of 1990, the first modular motor, a 4.6 liter SOHC V8, would be used in the 1981 Lincoln Town Car. In the 91 model year Lincoln Town Car, in spite of having a smaller displacement, the 20-pound, 9 kilo lighter 4.6 liter modular V8 could generate more power than the town car's previous overhead valve OHV 5 liter V8 and accelerate to 0 to 60 1.5 seconds faster, all while delivering better fuel efficiency. Ford modular motors would go on to be its chief gasolines V8 and V10s. Next version we got is the 4.6 liter. So the first one we got is the 4.6 liter. So the 4.6 liter 280 90-degree V8s offered in in 2 valve, 3 valve, and 4 valve versions. The first two are SRHC, whereas the 4 valve was the DO was so the first two, the 2 and 3 valve, were SOHCs, whereas the 4 valve was the DOHC, whereas the 4 valve was the DOHC version. The motors are also offered with both aluminum and cast iron blocks, depending on the application. The 4.6 liters bore and stroke are nearly square at 3.552, so 3.552 by 3.543, so 3.543 inches, 90.2 to 90 millimeters, deck height for the 4.6 blocks, 8.937 inches, 227 millimeters, and connecting rod length, or con rod length as they call it, shortened for connecting rod lengths, 5.933 inches, 150.7 millimeters, center to center, giving a 4.6 liter a 1.67 to 1 rod to stroke ratio. Cylinder bore spacing measures 3.9 3.93 3.937 inches. So 3.937 inches, approximately dead on at 100 millimeters. Approximately dead on at 100 millimeters, which is um, approximately dead on 100 approximately dead on at 100 millimeters, which is common to all members of the modular motor family. All modular V8s, apart from both the 5-liter Coyote and the 5.2-liter Voodoo, utilize the same firing order as the um, Ford, both the Ford 5-liter high output and the 351, and the 351 CID. So yeah, CID. Not sure what CID means. I don't know. I think it's cubic inch diameter. I don't know. V8's firing order was one three one 137265548. The 4.6 liter versions have been the 4.6 liter motors have been assembled at the REP Romeo engine plant in Michigan and at WEP Windsor engine plant, both at and the EEP Essex engine plant, both located in both located in Windsor on both located in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The final 4.6 liters produced in May 2014, 2 months after Need for Speed was released, and installed in a 2014 model year Ford A Ford A Series van. Next is a two valve. So okay, so the first version we got with a 4.6 liter is the two valve V8. The first production modular V8s, the 4.6 liter um two valve SOHC V8. So two valve, so 4.6 liter two valve SOHC V8 introduced in the 91 Lincoln Town Car. The 4.6 liter two valve motors built, so the 4.6 liter two valves built at both the Romeo and the Windsor engine plant, which had different designs for cylinder heads, such as like cam caps, interconnected cam cages versus the individual cams per cam journal, camshaft sprockets, bolt on versus press on, valve covers, 11 versus 13 bolts, crankshaft crankshaft 6 versus 8 bolts, and main bearing caps. So main bearing caps. Uh, 2 bolt fasteners with two jack screws versus 2 bolt fasteners with dowel pins. So there is. Oh my god, 28 cars with this V8 motor. Oh my god. Well, I got the vehicle name, for production years, and the motor output, and a notice of what parts it really had. For some, wouldn't really have it, but most of which technically do. Alright, so number one we got, so the first one we got is the Lincoln Town Car from the years 91 to 93. It made 190 horsepower and 260 pound-feet, 353 newton-meters of torque. So 353 newton-meters of torque. Then we got the Aston Martin Lagonda Vignale concept from 1993. with also same amount of power, but with extra 10 pound-feet, 13 newton meters of torque, which brings up to 270 pound-feet, 366 newton meters of torque. Um, then we got the Lincoln Town Car. We got four versions of these ones. So the first one we got is from 94 to 95, which made 205 horsepower, 205 horsepower, and 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters of torque. They got the same town car, but from the year 96 to 98, which made 210 horsepower, still the same torque, but extra 5 horsepower more. Because for this version, Ford A.A.C. V was introduced. Then we got the touring sedan version of the Lincoln Town Car, but from 1999 to the year 2000, and it made a bit more power, 240 horsepower, 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters of torque. So extra 2 pound-feet, 2 newton meters more torque. That's because this one had a performance improved. This was performance improved with a standard dual exhaust. Then we got another standard Lincoln Town Car, but from 2002 to 2011. Same exact power and torque configurations as the sedan version. Then we got the Ford Crown Victoria and Mercury Grand Marquis. I can't pronounce it, but it's spelled Marquis. So Marquis from 1998 to 2000 made a little bit of power than the Crown. Hold on. There's two versions. So we got the first one is from 1992. Actually, there's three. No, four. Oh my god. So the first one is from 1982. So from 92 to 97, they made 210 horsepower. Two, two. So hold on. So Lincoln Town Car. It's a Lincoln Town Car. 94, 95, 205 horsepower, 380 pound-feet, 380 newton meters. So Lincoln Town Car. 96, 98, 210 horsepower with Ford ACV introduced. They got the touring sedan version of the Lincoln Town Car. 99 to 2000, 240 horsepower, 262 pound-feet. 282, sorry. So the previous ones made 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters. This one made 282 pound-feet, 300. Well, it's a Lincoln Town Car, 94 to 95, 205 horsepower with 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters of torque. Then we got, so that was from 94, 95. Then we got the 96, 98 version with 210 horsepower and 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters of torque. So same torque, just a little bit more power. With the Ford AACV introduced. Then we got the Lincoln Town Car Touring Sedan version from 1999 to 2000, 240 horsepower, 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters, with a performance improved, with a standard dual exhaust. So that's from 99 to 2000. Then we got another Lincoln Town Car, but from 2002 to 2011. Pretty much the same performance, same power and torque as the touring sedan version. So pretty much the same power and torque as the touring sedan version. I believe this one was like a wagon or something. I'm not so sure. Next we got is the Ford Crown Victoria, Mercury Grand Marquis. I can't pronounce it still, but it's spelled Marquis. From 92 to 97, made slightly less power than the Lincoln Town Car, 210 horsepower, 270 pound-feet, 366 newton meters of torque, with a dual exhaust option, also with Ford ACV, introduced in 1996. Then we got the same Crown Victoria, but from 1998. but from 1998 to 2000, which made a little bit more power, 215 horsepower, 285 pound-feet, 386 newton meters of torque. It's an extra 5 horsepower, 15 pound-feet, 20 newton meters of torque more. So a better increase. This one has equipped with the dual exhaust option. Then we got the same Crown Victoria, but from the year 2001 to 2002. This one made a little bit more power, 235 horsepower, but slightly less torque, just by 10 pound-feet, 13 newton meters, 275 pound-feet, 373 newton meters. When this one is equipped with a performance improved, this was performance improved with a dual exhaust option. Then we got the same Crown Victoria Mercury Grand Marquis. I still can't pronounce it. The same one, but from 2003 to 2012. So made 239 volt, 240 horsepower, a bit more power, a bit more torque even, 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters of torque, around 7 pound-feet. Wait. Says 7 pound-feet, 9 newton meters. And this one was equipped with a dual exhaust option. So that was the 03 to 2012 version. Wait, hold on. So the 0102, 235 horsepower. 235 horsepower, 235 pound-feet, 373 newton meters, with a performance improved with a dual exhaust option. So that was the 0102. Then we got the 03 2012 version with same 240 horsepower, but with 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters of torque with the dual exhaust option. So that is increased it by an extra 7 pound-feet, 9 newton meters with a dual exhaust option anyway. Then we got the Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor from 04 to 2011, which made a bit more power, 250 horsepower, and nearly 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque. Pretty powerful for a Crown Victoria like this. And this one was included with a Mercury Marauder airbox and an 80mm MAF mass airflow sensor. Then we got two versions of the Ford Thunderbird Mercury Cougar. So we got two versions of both the Ford Thunderbird and Mercury Cougar. So the first two versions were from 94 to 95. Both made 205 horsepower. Same goes for the 96, 97 version. Makes the same power, but the only difference is that the 94, 95 version made 265 pound-feet, 360 newton meters of torque, whereas the 96, 97 version 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters, so around 15 pound-feet, 20 newton meters more. The slightly more powerful one included Ford EECV. So same power, 205 horsepower. It's just that the 96, 97 version was slightly powerful faster than the 94, 95 versions of both the Ford Thunderbird and Mercury Cougar. So the first one, 94, 95, 205 horsepower, and 206 pound-feet, 360 newton meters of torque. Then for 96, 97, same power, just a torque different, 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters of torque. So 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters. So 280 pound-feet, 380 newton meters, with Ford EECV introduced. Then we got the Ford F-Series from 97 to 2000 at 4,400 RPM, 220 horsepower. So at 4,400 RPM, 220 horsepower, and at 3,250 RPMs, 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters of torque. They've got the same F-Series, but from 01 to 05, with a bit more power, 231 horsepower, at 4,750 RPMs. Then at 3,500 RPM, 293 pound-feet, 397, nearly 300 pound-feet, nearly 400 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Then we got another F-Series from 06 to 2010, which made a bit more power at 4,750 RPMs, 250 horsepower, and at 4,000 RPM, nearly 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So pretty much the same torque configurations as the 0105 version. So the 06 010, so the 06 2010 version is a little bit more powerful. Then we got the Ford E series too, actually. First one we got is 97 to 2000. It's like 97 to 2000, which made 210 horsepower and 290 pound-feet. 293 pound-feet, 397 newton meters, nearly 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque with performance improved. Wait, hold on. Wait. So for the Ford F-Series, so 06 2010, 250 horsepower at 4,750 RPMs, 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters at 4,000 RPM. So that's for the F-Series. Now we got the Ford E-Series. Sorry, I got a bit confused. So from 97 to 2000 for the Ford E-Series, two versions. First one is from 97 to 2000, made 210 horsepower, and 290 pound-feet, 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters of torque. So that was the E-Series from 97 to 2000. So the 01 2014 version made 231 horsepower and 293 pound-feet, 397 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Now we got the Ford Explorer and the Mercury Mountaineer. Both from 0205 to years. They made 4,750 RPMs, 240 horsepower, 240 horsepower, and at 4,000 RPM, 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters of torque. So 240 horsepower at 4,750 RPMs, and at approximately down at 4,000 RPMs, 282 pound-feet, 382 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So that's both for the Ford Explorer and the Mercury Mountaineer, both from the years 02 to 05. Then we got two versions of the Ford Expedition. So the first one we got is from 97 to 2000, 215 horsepower, and 290 pound-feet, 393. So 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters of torque. So it's a 97 2000 version. Now I got the 0104 edition with 231 horsepower and 293 pound-feet, 397, nearly 400 newton meters of torque, nearly 300 pound-feet actually. So I made an extra 16 horsepower, 3 pound-feet, 4 newton meters of torque. Because the 0104's version's performance was improved. So we got the Expedition 97 to 2000, 215 horsepower, 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters of torque. Wait. Expedition, 97, 2000, 215 horsepower, 290 pound-feet, 290 pound-feet, 383 newton meters. Then we got the 0104 edition with 231 horsepower and 231 horsepower, 293 pound-feet, 397, nearly 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque. Well, 397, that is right up to 400 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Then we got 4 versions of the Mustang GT. Starting off with the first one is from 96 to 97. It made 215 horsepower and 285 pound-feet, 285 pound-feet, 386 newton meters of torque, with Ford AECV introduced. Then we got the 98 version with a little bit more power, 225 horsepower, 225 horsepower, and 290 pound-feet, 300 393 newton meters more. So that's 10 horsepower, 5 pound-feet, 7 newton meters more than the 96, 97 Mustang GT. Well, so Mustang GT, so for number 1, 96, 97, 215 horsepower, 285 pound-feet, 386 newton meters of torque, which that had Ford AECV introduced. Then we got the 98 version with 225 horsepower, 225 horsepower, and 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters. So 290 pound-feet, 393 newton meters. Then we got the 9904 Mustang GT. So we got the 9904 Mustang GT with more power, 260 horsepower, and 302 pound-feet, 409 newton meters of torque, with performance improved headers. So performance improved headers. Then we got the bullet version of the Mustang GT from 01. A little bit more power, a bit more torque. 265 horsepower, and 305 pound-feet, 414 newton meters of torque. So the original GT was from 1989 to 2004. 260 horsepower, 302 pound-feet, 409 newton meters, with performance improved headers. They got the bullet version of the GT from 01 with 265 horsepower and 305 pound-feet, 414 newton meters of torque, with performance improved headers, alternate intake manifold, based on Ford Racing design or FR design, unique to this application. Then we got a couple cars which are not from the States, but they still use the same motor. First one we got is the MG ZT 260 with from 03 to 05, 260 horsepower. So 260 horsepower, 260 horsepower, 300 pound-feet, 407 newton meters of torque. So both that 0305 MG ZT260 and the Rover 75 V8, whatever it is, same year 0305, makes the same power as the MG ZT260. 260 horsepower, 300 pound-feet, 407 newton meters. Last but certainly not the very least, we got is the Mobile Ventures MV1 from 2011 to 2014. It made 250 horsepower and 294, well, nearly 300 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque. Also available in factory CNG versions. Next, we got us the 3-valve. Hopefully, it won't be that. Oh, it's not that long. Pretty good. So the 3-valve SOH. So the 3-valve SOHC. Sorry. So the 3-valve SOHC 4.6 liter V8 with VCT variable camshaft timing first appeared in the redesigned '05 Mustang. The motors are equipped with an electronic CMZV, so charge motion control value so charge motion control value, or CMCV, charge motion control value system that provides increased air velocity at low engine that provides increased air velocity at low engine speeds for both improved emissions and low RPM torque. Cylinder block material varies between aluminum used in the '05 2010 Mustang GT and cast iron used in the truck applications. The three valve SOHC 4.6 liter V8s on the award's 10 best list for 0508. Now we got a couple cars right in here. Oh. So yeah, the 3-valve SOHC. So the 3-valve. Oh. So the 3-valve SOHC 4. So the 3-valve SOHC 4.6 liter V8s on the awards 10 best engines list for the years 05 to 08, so 2005 to 2008. So there's 6 cars that use that. So there's 6 cars that use these engines. So the 24-valve SOHC VCT variable camshaft timing 4.6 liter V8. So the 6 cars that were used were the Mustang GT from 05 to 09 with 300 horsepower and 320 pound-feet, 434 newton meters of torque. So it's the GT in the Bullet version. So the GT from 0509, the Bullet from 0809 made 315 horsepower, so a little bit more power. 315 horsepower, 325 pound-feet, 441 newton meters. So that's for the Bullet 0809. And for the next one, it makes the same exact power as the Bullet, which is the GT, which is the Mustang, which is the Mustang GT from 2010. Same power and torque configurations. Then we got both the Ford Explorer and Mercury Mountaineer from 06 to 2010, which made 292 horsepower and 315 pound-feet. That's the same configuration as the horsepower in both the Bullet and GT Mustangs. So for both the Ford Explorer and the Mercury Mountaineer, which were both from 06 2010, made 292 horsepower and 315 pound-feet, 427 newton meters of torque. And for the same power and torque configurations in the same year, there's the Ford Explorer Sport Track version from the same year, same power and torque and everything else. Then we got the Ford, last but certainly not the very least, we got us the Ford F-150 from 09 to 2010. Same power, just a little bit more torque at 320 pound-feet, 434 newton meters of torque. So it's 5 pound-feet, 7 newton meters more than the previous two V8s. Next we got is 4. So okay, the last one we have is 4-valve. And oh my god, that's a huge list. Well, guess I better double time it. So, it's the 4 valve. So, the 4 valve DOHC version of the modular motors introduced in the 90 in the 93 in the 93 Lincoln Mark 8 um as the 4.6 liter 4 cam V8 4 cam V8 so 4 cam V8 so V8 Lincoln marketed the motor under the name Intech after 1985. The 93-98 four-valve motors featured cylinder heads with both two intake port with both two intake ports per cylinder, which is called split port, and variable variable runner length intake manifolds with either vacuum or electrically so either vacuum or electrically activated 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 intake manifolds, activated IMRC intake manifold rudder controls. Again, so depending, hold on. So 93-98 four-valve motors featured cylinder heads with two intake ports per cylinder, which is called split port, and variable rudder length intake manifolds, so or VRL IM, with either vacuum or electrically activated IMRC, so intake manifold rudder controls, depending on the application. So the motor is revised for nine. So the motor is revised for 1999 with new cylinder heads featuring tumble style intake ports, one intake port feeding two intake valves, new even new camshaft profiles. Sorry, new camshaft profiles and new camshaft profiles and fixed rudder length intake manifolds. These changes resulted in more power. These changes resulted in more power, torque, and a broader broader power band when compared to the earlier four valve motors. All 4.6 liter four valve motors featured aluminum blocks with 6 bolt main bearing caps. The only exception being the 0304 SVT Cobra, which had the 4 bolt main cast iron block. The 1989 and earlier motors featured the 1989 and earlier motors featured an aluminum block cast in Italy by Fiat subsidiary. So an aluminum block cast so aluminum aluminum block cast in Italy. So aluminum block cast in Italy by Fiat subsidiary Texid, spelled TEKSID, SPA since 1996. All of the 4.6 liter 4 valve motors manufactured for use in the SVT Cobra have been hand-built by SVT technicians at Ford's Romeo, Michigan plant. SVT stands for Special Vehicle Team. The four valve DOHC 4.6 liter V8s on the Ward's 10 best engines list for both 1990 for 96 and 97. So the cars that were equipped with a 32 valve DOHC 4.6 liter V8 motor included the following. So they got the Lincoln Mark So we got the Lincoln Mark 8 from 93 to 98 with 280 horsepower and 285 pound-feet, 386 newton meters of torque. Then we got the same one but the LSC version from 95. So from 95 to 98, 290 horsepower, 295 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque. Then we got the Ford Thunderbird SVE from 96 to 97, from 96 to 97, which had with which was with 350 horsepower and 375 pound-feet, 508 new meters of torque, which was supercharged. Never really progressed past the prototype phase. So past the prototype phase. Then we got the both two versions of the Lincoln Continental. So one from 1995. So 1995. It's from 95 to 98. Then the second version from 99 to 02. The first one made 260 horsepower and 265 pound-feet, 360 newton meters of torque. Um, and the second one was from 99 to 02 with 275 horsepower, um, 275, so 275 horsepower, 275 pound-feet, 373 newton meters of torque, both with four-wheel drive and different bell housing. Then we got the Lincoln Then we got the Lincoln Aviator from 03 to 05 with 302 horsepower and 300 pound-feet, 407 newton meters of torque. Then we got the Mercury Marauder from 03 to 04 with the same power but with a bit more torque, 318 pound-feet, 430. So 318 pound-feet, 431 newton meters of torque. Then we got three versions of the Mustang SVT Cobra. The first one was from 1996, 96 to 98. Um, so the first one made 305 horsepower and 305 horsepower and 300 pound-feet. So in 300 pound-feet, 407 newton meters of torque. Then the second version was from 99 to 01 with 320 horsepower, so 15 extra horsepower more, 317 pound-feet, 430 newton meters of torque, so an extra 17 pound-feet, 23 newton meters more torque than the previous 9698. 9698 SVT Cobra. So that's the 9901 done. Next we got the 0304 version, which made the most power, 390 horsepower, and 390 horsepower and 390 pound-feet, 390 pound-feet, 530 newton meters of torque, 100 more than the previous SVT Cobra from 99 to 02. Reason being is because the 0304 version had, because the 0304 version had the iron block and it was supercharged. So supercharged. Then we got two versions of the Mustang Mach 1. So the first one we got is the 03 version with 305 horsepower and 320 pound-feet, 434 newton meters of torque. So 305 horsepower. So we got the Mustang SVT. So we got two versions of the Mustang SVT Cobra. First one from 99 to 01, 320 horsepower, 317 pound-feet, 430 newton meters of torque. The second version from 0304, 390 horsepower, 390 pound-feet, 530 newton meters of torque, iron block, and cast iron block which was supercharged. They've got two versions of the Mustang Mach 1. So the first one was from 2003 with 305 horsepower, 320 Newton meters, so 305 horsepower, 320 pound-feet, 434 Newton meters. That was the '03 version. Then we got the '04 version with a bit more power, 310 horsepower, and 335, 335 pound-feet, 400, 400, so 335, wait. So the first one, '03, 305 horsepower, 310 pound-feet, 434 Newton meters of torque. Second version from '04, 310 horse. So the first one, 305 horsepower, 320 pound-feet, 434 Newton meters. Second version, 310 horsepower, 335 pound-feet, and 454 Newton meters of torque. Now we got the next cars which I never recognized. We got the first one we got is the Spectre R42 from 95 to 98, 350 horsepower, and 317. So 350 horsepower, and 317 pound-feet, 430 Newton meters of torque. Then we got the Marcos Mantis from 97 to 99. Previous cars, so the Spectre R40 from the Spectre R42 was from 95 to 98. The Marcos Mantis was from 97 to 99 with 330 horsepower, well 327, and 320 pound-feet, well 317 of 430 Newton meters. So that's the Marcos Mantis. Wait. Spectre R42. Hang on.